Turkey faced two deadly earthquakes 9 hours apart last week. Many buildings collapsed. Tens of thousands of people passed away. Seismologist Dr. Susan Hough of the US Geological Survey is with us. I would like to ask, how would you interpret this rare situation?
Yeah, so first, the international community of scientists, our heart goes out to the people who were impacted by these tragic events. The images are very difficult. Earthquakes like this, 7.8, are not common within on human timescales. They don't happen necessarily in any one person's lifetime. But geologically, we know that they are going to happen eventually. In California, we had the 1906 earthquake. There was a similar magnitude to the 7.8. Nobody alive remembers that earthquake.
According to some seismologists, the two devastating earthquakes could trigger a similar tremor in the region in the future. What would you say about that? And also, I would like to ask, is it possible to predict exactly when and where an earthquake will occur?
There's no way to predict specifically when an earthquake is going to happen. People make claims, but there's just no proven science that lets us say that a big earthquake is going to happen tomorrow or next year or even 10 years from now. We know over the long term, if you look forward 100 years or 300 years, we know that certain earthquakes are likely to happen. And we use that information to produce a seismic hazard map. If you look at the most recent hazard map for Turkey, you see the high hazard zones along the faults. So that was recognized. And people would like earthquakes to be predicted because they are so terrifying that there's no warning. The important thing for life safety is that the buildings stay standing. Even if you could predict an earthquake is likely in the next year, buildings have to withstand the shaking. So in terms of what might happen in the future, we know that a large earthquake will trigger other earthquakes. But we know that big earthquakes, they release stress in the crust, but they also disrupt the crust in a way that makes other earthquakes more likely. Is there a probability that this earthquake will in fact trigger something bigger over the next year, say? That is, the chances are very small, maybe 1 in 100. So they're low. But you have active fault systems. Turkey corresponds to the Anatolian plate that has active faults around it, and the plates to the south are pushing to the north. Turkey is a little bit like a watermelon seed, where it's being squeezed, but the watermelon seed will go sideways. And the East Anatolian fault is one of the edges of the watermelon seed. The North Anatolian fault is the northern edge. So that's another active fault. And that fault, people may know, produced a very large earthquake in 1939 that was close to the same size as the recent earthquake. There is still concern for the North Anatolian fault. That system continues through the Marmara Sea. And there's been concern going back to 1999 that earthquake might trigger a moderately large earthquake close to Istanbul, which is a scary.
Dr. Susan Hough of the US Geological Survey, thank you for your contributions.
Thank you. Take care.